Good morning. Measures to raise taxes on cigarettes are set to be announced later today. The details on the hike margin is of keen interest, especially to Korea's high percentage rate of smokers. Travel, touch, traffic, and technology, or the T-Money card, prepaid transportation card that is expanding for other transactions and being exported. 60 cloud-shaped balloons with cool mist machines along an elevated walkway, the winner of the first Young Arctic Architects program in Seoul. Lee Myun-hee has a special interview. And abundant with history and culture and hometown of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, Chungju is a delight for tourists and locals alike. Find out on Korea Today, Thursday, September 11th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday break. I'm Oh Jin-ju alongside Kim Min-jung and Kim Young.
And the good news is that for the most part, we had a very long, great holiday, and I'm sure it was enjoyable for the family. But the bad news is most of us are heading straight back to work today.
That's right, back to work, back to the daily grind. But it's going to be a short work week
That's
this
the other
week.
good news, right?
Right, Thursday and Friday. So hang in there for those of you who are heading back to work, which is most people, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, many people are dreading going back to work this morning, while many smokers are dreading this particular Thursday as the government is set to announce anti-smoking measures that will likely include a hike in cigarette prices. After consulting with the ruling Saenuri Party in a scheduled meeting on Thursday, the Health and Welfare Minister is expected to unveil measures aimed at lowering the smoking rate, which stands at about 44% for Korean men, much higher than the 25% among OECD member nations. All eyes are on the details, such as the margin of the price hike from the current 2,500 won, which is about $2.40. The proposed move is expected to be met by strong opposition from smokers and also at the National Assembly by those who believe the raised prices will be a burden to smokers in the low-income bracket.
Automobile manufacturers will need to up their research and development output in order to meet the demands of the Korean government as Korea is shooting for lower automobile emissions towards the latter half of this decade. The Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy announced it would lower the CO2 emissions target to 97 grams per kilometer for the 2016 to 2020 period from 140 grams per kilometer, the current target for 2012 to 2015, in order to meet global standards for greenhouse gas reduction. This translates to a target of 24.3 kilometers per liter by 2020 compared to the 17 kilometers per liter set 5 years ago. The new target sits lower than the United States and Japan's target, according to the ministries. Manufacturers will be required to meet either the CO2 emissions or fuel economy standards by 2020 or face a fine.
And figures show the number of Korean youths landing jobs is rising. According to Statistics Korea, the number of those newly employed between the ages of 15 and 29 surpassed 4 million in July for the first time in 3 years. The upward trend has been continuing for 11 consecutive months. The youth unemployment rate for the month of July stood at 42.2%, the highest since the 2008 global financial crisis, thanks in part to the recovering economy and the government's measures to pick up the employment rate among young Koreans.
Instead of going through the hassle of buying a one-way transportation ticket or paying cash for every ride, millions of people in Korea are using the T-Money card to commute. Now, this prepaid public transportation card, which was first introduced more than a decade ago, is not only widely used for paying daily subway or bus fees, but also for many other transactions, for example, at convenience stores. And the technology of the card is now even being exported to other countries. For more on the T-Money card, we connect live to our Kwon So-ah, who is out at a subway station in southern Seoul. Good morning, So-ah.
Good morning, Jinju. It's gradually getting busy here at the station as morning commuters are heading back to work after the long, extended Chuseok holiday. But it would be more hectic and crowded and also slow here without the T-Money card because people would have to look for the money in their wallets and change their money and go through all that hassle. Now, paper tickets at subway stations like this one have become history and have been exchanged by the sounds of beeps like this, and you're good to go. But the T-Money card has not stopped evolving. In what way? Let's take a look. More convenient, more compatible, more stylish, and more widely used. Korea Smart Card Corporation's prepaid transportation card, known as the T-Money card, has been expanding its services continuously since its birth more than 10 years ago. The system was first introduced for subway and bus payments in the capital Seoul before it slowly began to spread to other parts of the country. Since 2007, taxi fares can be paid via the T-Money card too. In 2010, the T-Money Android smartphone, which has a microcard with a T-Money function, was released. And this year, the T-Money card has been made compatible with nearly all forms of public transportation across the country, including for train tickets and highway toll fees. The card has become so popular that it hits around 50 million transactions per day.
When I used to pay for my fees with cash, it was inconvenient. But not anymore since I use the T-Money card. All I have to do is charge it.
I use it often because of the transfer fee. The additional amount of money I have to pay is low, which is convenient for people like me who use public transportation a lot.
The most convenient feature of the T-Money card is its integration system, meaning just one card is needed to pay for all kinds of transportation methods. Also, thanks to the distance-based fare system, transferring up to 5 times via different means of public transportation and different routes has become much cheaper than in the past. But the card's use is not only limited to transportation. It's also used in daily micropayments at more than 50,000 places of business. It's especially popular at convenience stores, where the cards can also be recharged with money, as well as public parking lots, online shopping malls, and more. The CEO of Korea Smart Card Corporation, Choi Dae-sung, says research and development in the field will be broadened to meet the needs of as many users as possible. For example, developing student identification cards and vouchers with the T-Money technology. What may now be a service taken for granted in Korea is highly recognized in other countries that are scrambling to adopt the T-Money system. Korea Smart Card opened its first service abroad in Wellington, New Zealand in 2008.
When cards are held against the T-Money card reader there, the settlement data is sent to Korea, and those results are transferred back to New Zealand. That's remote management service through cutting-edge technology.
And the so-called cashless bus ticketing system was introduced in Malaysia in 2010.
Southeast Asian countries have many concerns about their chaotic traffic conditions, and that's why they request consultations with our company, and we then participate in detailed mapping out of their systems.
Korea Smart Card also exclusively revealed that it has established T-Money America in New York, adding that another major location is in talks to expand on the Smart Card service.
So what is the key technology that's being used in this card that is attracting other countries to adopt the card system and making it possible for this particular card to be used for various purposes?
While Korea Smart Card's NFC technology, or near-field communications technology, which is a short-range wireless communications technology getting a lot of attention these days, has been acknowledged as the company won the best award for a global NFC competition in 2012. And I'm actually standing in front of a smart vending machine right here, which works with that technology. So let's take a look how this works. So all you have to do do is hold your T-Money card against the card reader like this, and then choose your item and press on the side. And then it'll just take a few seconds for your item to come out. And actually the subway is just coming in right now, and this is so convenient because people who don't have a lot of time to get out their money can use this smart card, and here is my snack. So this is very convenient, and if you have a smartphone, which many people of course have here in Korea these days, you can also download the T-Money mobile application, which makes the service even easier. Back to you, Jinju.
Very convenient indeed. Hope to see this card system expand further globally. Thanks for that report this morning. That was our Kwon Soo reporting on the smart transportation card, the T-Money card system.
Good morning. It's time to run through the front pages of your newspapers. Now, some Korean workers are returning to work today after a 5-day long weekend, but some actually returned to their workplaces yesterday as a substitute holiday measure did not apply to them. Let's get to the story on this in just a bit, but first let's get a check on how much work has been done so far on the political front, and that we'll check here on Songhwailbo first. And not much has been done according to this paper. The headline reads, 19th National Assembly has fulfilled only 14% of campaign pledges. Now, in the subheadlines, it notes the Daily extensively analyzed the campaign pledges of 144 local lawmakers. And although these lawmakers are more than halfway through their terms in office, they have not taken any action on more than 20% of their earlier pledges. And that can be seen here in this graph. Like I said, about 20%, no work has been done on, so they haven't even been touched upon. About 7% of the pledges have in fact been put off or discarded even. Almost 60% are being worked on at this point, and just a mere 14%, like I said, has been completed. So the paper criticizes that not much work has been done at the 19th Assembly so far, with lawmakers simply making pledges just for the sake of campaigning during elections. And now let's go to that story about the substitute holidays here on the side of Gyeongyang Shinmun. And this one is titled Incomplete Substitute Holiday System. So the paper is viewing the system with a critical eye, saying it may be unfair to those who were not able to take the last day of this long weekend off. Now, this Chuseok was the first time that the government put its substitute holiday measure into effect. Now, that meant, according to the subheadlines, since part of the holiday fell on the weekend, in this case Sunday, it had been extended an extra day to Wednesday yesterday, giving some Koreans a 5-day vacation. Mainly to those working for large corporations, public offices, and schools were able to enjoy the luxury of an additional day off. However, private enterprises were to decide for themselves whether to follow the new system. In particular, most temporary employees still had to work yesterday. The paper stresses that some even felt discriminated against. Now, amid rising controversy surrounding fairness, Saenuri Party lawmaker Kim Sung-tae, as well as the New Politics Alliance for Democracy spokesperson Han Jung-hae, pointed out the system's flaws and called for the legislation of supplementary laws regarding this issue. And next up is Chungailbo. We'll go to this story here at the bottom, close up. This one's pretty interesting about North Korea. And the header says Xi Jinping's congratulatory message pushed to page 3 of Rodong Sinmun. So this is about North Korea on Tuesday having received a congratulatory message from Chinese leader Xi Jinping on maintaining strong bilateral relations as it marked the 66th anniversary of its founding. However, as the subheadlines say, although such a message used to be introduced on the very front page of North Korea's official Rodong Sinmun, this year it was pushed back to page 3, perhaps done deliberately to reflect the North's straining relations with China in recent years. Now, in the meantime, Rodong Sinmun put the congratulatory message from Russian President Vladimir Putin on page 1 on the second day of the festival, perhaps signaling a different attitude towards Russia, according to this daily. And now switching gears to business, we'll go to the Korea Economic Daily for this header in the center. It says Samsung in two wars against Apple and Xiaomi. Now, yesterday, Apple announced the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. And rather amusingly, for a company that has always extolled the virtues of smaller screens, both of the new models have large screens, somewhat resembling Samsung's smartphones. And meanwhile, Samsung also showcased the brand new Galaxy Note 4 at New York Fashion Week, as you can see in the image. And the paper says with Chinese companies like Xiaomi following close on the heels of Samsung and Apple, this year is proving to be the most competitive time in the smartphone market for the tech giants. And that was a look at newspaper headlines for this Thursday. And now here are the stock numbers from Wednesday.
Well, this Chuseok felt a lot warmer compared to the past Chuseoks because it fell sooner than previous years.
Definitely. We were blessed with great weather. It was like kind of an extension of summer for many people on that part. But we are getting fluctuating temperatures between morning and an evening, or our daytime temperatures. So we'll get a look at what we're expecting for today with Chun Sung-cho.
Good morning to you, Sung-cho.
Good morning, guys. I'm sure a lot of people in Korea are struggling to get over the post-holiday blues, but they should feel a bit better today with the weather condition because it is looking nice and clear. We have a high-pressure system over the north, giving us mostly cloudless skies nationwide. Even the level of fine dust in the atmosphere is low today, so it's going to be perfect conditions outdoors. However, starting in the afternoon, clouds will start building up, and tomorrow's forecast calls for a bit of sprinkle in the eastern Gangwon-do province. Nevertheless, today is going to be warm, pretty warm, with a good amount of sun during the day. With that, let's take a closer look at the temperature readings. Midday highs in most cities are hovering around the upper 20s. Seoul, Gwangju, and Daejeon are at 28, and Daegu the warmest at 29, while Gangwon stays the coolest at 24 degrees Celsius. The difference between the lows and highs is big all across the country, up to 10 degrees Celsius in some cities, so make sure you prepare a light jacket on your way out this morning. This is all for me with the weather forecast. Back to you, Min-jung.
Thank you, Sung-cho. Let's get a check on the stories making headlines from around the world this Thursday morning. We'll turn to our Eunice Kim, who joins us from the News Center. Good morning to you, Eunice.
Good morning, Min-jung.
Well, the last time we talked, the leaders of the U.S. and the UK were campaigning at the NATO summit for an international coalition to fight Islamic State militants. And now U.S. President Barack Obama is set to announce his broader strategy in mere hours.
That's right. That announcement set to come in just a few hours at 10 o'clock Korea time this morning. And a note about the timing, it would come just hours before America greets an anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. President Obama's televised address will be watched closely for hints of a sustained U.S. operation, which would mark a shift from his earlier vision of ending American involvement in that region. And ahead of it, the White House said it has all of the authorities it needs to proceed with what it calls its comprehensive strategy to degrade and ultimately destroy IS. The plans could include an extension of American airstrikes to Syria, where, of course, the civil war continues to rage. Meanwhile, America's top diplomat, John Kerry, is in the Middle East today rallying support for a broader coalition with regional partners. Kerry kicked off his tour with an unannounced visit to Baghdad, where he held talks with Iraq's new Prime Minister, Haider al-Abadi. He is set to make stops in Jordan and Saudi Arabia this week as well. President Obama also spoke to Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah about the Islamic militants on Wednesday local time. And over in Ukraine, its president Petro Poroshenko says his country estimates about 70% of Russian troops have left its borders as a ceasefire between Kiev and pro-Russian separatists appears to hold. Moscow has consistently denied sending troops into Ukraine, contrary to what Western leaders believe, including NATO. Poroshenko promised more autonomy for rebel-held eastern regions with a related bill that could be introduced as early as next week, but rejected a federalized eastern Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin promised his country will respond to military moves by NATO with new nuclear and conventional weapons, as his military successfully test-fired an intercontinental ballistic missile from a nuclear submarine.
And the news we cannot let slip from the Chuseok holidays. After much anticipation and speculation, and much to the happiness of techies out there, Apple has unveiled 2 new gadgets, actually 3, 2 new iPhones and a smartwatch. What more can you tell us?
That's not called an iWatch, but rather the Apple Watch. And we'll get to that in a moment. But for those of you who have not followed the grand reveal or the web chatter, let's go ahead and get you caught up. Both iPhones are leaner with bigger screen sizes. The iPhone 6 measuring it at 4.7 inches and the iPhone 6 Plus at 5.5 inches with price points beginning between roughly $200 and $300 respectively. Now, they're set to launch in the U.S. a week from tomorrow on September 19th. The release date for Korea has yet to be announced. And the Apple Watch, its CEO Tim Cook's promise realized, and it will have the sapphire glass that the phones will not. It's the tech company's first foray into wearables, and the Apple Watch is getting plenty of attention, particularly for its design elements, including an inventive user interface, a turnkey crown control, and the interchangeable bands for customization, as you can see in the video there. There remain still many unknowns on the watch, though, including its battery life. It won't be released until early next year, missing the crucial Christmas gifting season, a note that wasn't missed by market watchers as Apple shares dropped following the announcement on Tuesday, Cupertino, California time. And with that, we will wrap your look at the global headlines we are following this morning.
And still to come on Korea Today, it's hiring season here in Korea, and the first step in landing a job is getting your resume accepted and acing your interview. There are places that help you get a leg up to conquer these challenges, so stay tuned if you're looking for a job.
And if you are looking for a job, architecture might just be the field that you might want to get in. It is a form of art embedded into structures. And the Young Architects program presents opportunities for emerging and undiscovered architects to showcase their talents. Our Im Yoon-hee has a look at the winning project of the inaugural YAP Korea installation.
Is it a building? Or is it art? Some might say it's a creative masterpiece. But to others, it's a cutting-edge display of architecture.
So where does art and architecture meet? I met with one of the curators for the MMCA to find out. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you. So what is the relationship between art and architecture?
The relationship between art and architecture, it is very difficult to answer the question. The Min Hyun-jun, the architect of this museum and one of the jury members of this project, he says that the architecture is a device to make people gathering and networking. I mean, this project, YAP project, fostering and finding young talented architects. So the museums, they give them the opportunity to present their own project. So the architecture is changing and it's getting more closer to the art. You are right standing on their project. This project.
This is the winner.
Yeah, this is the winner's project. The Shinseon play. Yeah, in Korean, Shinseon Norum. So as you see, this project is very, very interesting. So we are standing on the sky bridge, and the smoke Can you touch it? It's very cool, and the summer in Seoul is very hot. So one of the aims of this project is to provide a space of shade, sitting, water, so they can sit down and they enjoy the shade and the water is cooling. So this is the project. So as you did, actually these balloons are the key parts of this project. Some people say this is like a mushroom or this is like an onions.
They do look like mushrooms.
This means the clouds. The title of the project, Shinsan Play. So Shinsan, they live on top of the mountains, and from the view from the mountains, I mean, they can see the clouds and mountains, and there are a couple of trampolines at the bottom. So people jump up and down. So when they jump up, they technically they live in the heavens world, and when they go down, it's like a human being's world. So it's like
very interactive.
Exactly.
Interactive experience.
People, especially the children, they do like it. So during the weekends, you will see a long queue in front of each trampoline.
So it's very much like a culture project, incorporates Korea's history, Korea's culture.
Right.
But it's the Young Architects program. So tell us more about the architects, the artists.
This program is for the young architects. We don't have any critical age limit. They are like under 40s or slightly over 40s. So basically they are young. But they are very talented. So we received recommendations from 26 academics and medias and architects. And among them, we selected 5 finalists based on their portfolios. And to the finalists, we gave them a project. Okay, this is the place, and we want project like this. So they made a presentation, and the Munjibang, they were selected as a winner. And we wanted something very unique here. So they developed a concept like a Shinsan. The members from outside the country, they were very fascinated by this idea. So I think that's the reason behind this selection.
Right, so I did a little bit of research before it came, and I was getting ready to walk amongst the clouds, and it's a little bit hot today, so the mist is very nice, but it's very pretty.
Oh, can I give you last advice?
Yes.
When you come to the museum at night again, the view is totally different.
Here at this piece.
Yeah. There are some lights in some of the balloons, and the view is totally different. It's just more than amazing. Yeah, you will like it.
So for the sun to go down.
Try later and
now. Just stick around. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you very much for
coming. Nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And still ahead on Korea Today, Chungju of Chungcheongbuk-do province has transformed into a city of festivals for the fall season. Meet martial arts masters from around the world, visit rowing mecca Tangumho Lake, and join us at the apple orchards for a day trip on Korea Discovered.
So many people got to enjoy a nice long 5-day break this Chuseok holiday thanks to the newly implemented substitute holiday system.
Right, but not everyone got Wednesday off. Our Sami-Sorang joins us from the digital room to tell us more. Good morning, Misorang.
Good morning, guys. That's right. So depending on which survey you look at, anywhere between 20 and 40% of the working population already returned back to work yesterday. To see why, we need to go back to last year when the substitute holiday system was first introduced. Rather than making it a new law, the existing regulation on public office holidays was amended to include this new system. Now, the problem is, as the name suggests, the amended regulation only affects the public sector. In other words, it has no legal bearing on private institutions, and that's why many SME workers didn't get their substitute holiday.
So whether it was a 5 days or 4 days long, most of us did get a good break over Chuseok. But if you're still fatigued and feeling tired even after this prolonged rest, it might be a good idea to get a thorough checkup from your doctor and see if you suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, which could be a symptom of more sinister illnesses. And the military is once again a hot topic online, but this time for a completely different reason. The number of female soldiers in the Korean military has been gradually increasing and is nearing the 10,000 soldier mark. Starting from just 400 during the Korean War, this number has expanded to over 20-fold, and there are now some 9,200 female soldiers. More are taking on leadership roles as well and currently make up to 5% of all officers. Pundits say that this growing female presence is due in part to the society's increasingly positive perception of those who serve their country. And here's the latest on the ongoing Samsung v. Apple patent dispute. A U.S. district court has ruled that while Samsung Electronics did infringe on Apple's slide to unlock patent, it was not willful. This is expected to reduce the roughly $120 million damages that Samsung has to pay to Apple. And as we mentioned earlier, the government will announce its comprehensive anti-smoking measures at noon today. And both smokers and non-smokers alike are very curious as to exactly how much the cigarette prices will increase by after 10 years of remaining at the same price of just $2.4. And with that, it's a wrap for today's edition of your Daily News Sum Up.
And thank you very much, Mi So-rang, for that. And despite the long holiday that we all enjoyed so much, there were some people who probably couldn't get the long break that they wanted. 8 out of 10 people preparing and looking for jobs, they continue to do so throughout the Chuseok break.
That's right. That is really quite unfortunate, but that is reality when it comes to employment these days.
That's right. And open recruitments in Korea in the second half of the year have begun, but with so many applicants and just not enough job openings, it's a tough market out there. So people are going the extra mile to make themselves stand out.
That's right, standing out. Now, before it was all about your grade point average, your scores, and what certificates you had, and this and that. But a lot of other things that depend on standardized tests. And these days, it's not only that, but more than that. You have to get your specs, as we call it here, just right.
Right. So today, we're going to look into some of the current trends when it comes to getting yourself ready for any job opportunity. Let's take a look.
The continuing job crisis has hit everyone hard. In April, the number of unemployed exceeded 2.6 million, according to the National Statistics Office and Korea Employment Information Service. It only makes sense that everyone's going the extra distance to make their resume and presentation perfect. Some studios have begun offering one-step services for the unemployed. Free hair and makeup styling for their resume photos.
My photo is the first thing they will see about me, so I came to the studio that provides free hair and makeup styling before taking my photo.
The styling's free, but the professionals pay close attention to every detail.
Eyebrows can look washed out because of the camera's flash, so you have to make sure you define the eyebrows.
I don't know how to do my hair and makeup for my resume photo, but I'm confident after the stylist help.
Now on to the shoot. Another trait that sets this studio apart. It finds the color that complements your image, giving you the best first impression possible through a photo. The right hair, makeup, and backdrop can do wonders.
I didn't even think about the background color, but I see that it can make my face look different. Now I realize that every little detail counts.
After applications come the interviews, and trending now are image consulting centers with classes on facial expression, attitude, and even vocal tone.
Your expression and voice reflect your confidence, so many college students and unemployed people can come to us.
First, a practice test interview.
Sujin, you look nervous. You look flustered as you came in, like you were unsure of something, and that made you look unprepared.
It was just practice, but I was so nervous. But that helped me understand which areas I need to work on.
As we learned earlier, color coordination is important, and when a short interview is all the time you have to appeal to potential employers, you make the most of that time. And finding your personal color may help.
Sujin, which color do you like?
I'm not sure yet what color suits me.
I definitely suggest red. When you put this color up, your dark circles are more obvious. The tomato color evens out your face and gives you a good complexion.
I found out what color matches me, so I think it'll be much easier to choose hair color, makeup, and clothes.
Looking for jobs is stressful enough without having to worry about how much your perfect interview outfit will cost. But no more worries with these rental shops.
Clothes for interviews are expensive, but they don't get much use. So I found this place that rents you clothes.
어느 쪽 직종을 보시고 이제 면접을 보실 거예요?
저 승무원 쪽이요.
Not only do they lend out outfits, customers are offered professional advice on styling according to your dream job.
You can borrow clothes for a low price, and they offer clothing suggestions, so I'm less worried about my interviews.
At a time when finding employment is so difficult, these are just some of the steps people take to put their best foot forward from the start, and we wish them all the best in their endeavors.
And a good Thursday morning to you all as we kick things off with the upcoming Incheon Asian Games as the first group of North Korean Asian Games delegation begin arriving here in South Korea. Now landing at the Incheon International Airport via Koryo Airlines, 94 members of the North Korean delegation will arrive in South Korea. Now some of the members include North Korean Olympic Committee Chief Chang Soo-myung, the football squad, and the rowing team as well. Now, of course, more North Korean delegation are expected to arrive throughout the week depending on the sport and its event schedule. Now over to the South Korean national team this time and to the U23 men's football squad who face off against the UAE in their final tune-up match before the Incheon Asian Games. Now head coach Lee Kwang-jung using the 4-2-3-1 formation in this match with Kim Shin-wook up top as the lone striker, but it's Kim Min-hyuk who gives Korea the 1-0 lead in the first half. But a goalkeeper mistake by Kim Sung-gyu leads to UAE leveling the match at 1-1 before Kim Sung-dae scores in the 75th minute, giving Korea the 2-1 lead and the win. Meanwhile, Korea will play their first Asian Games match on the 14th against Malaysia. And now shifting over to the 2014 International Shooting Sports Federation's World Championship, which is taking place in Grenada, Spain. Now there, the 34-year-old Jin Jong-ho was able to break a world record that's as old as he is. Now, taking part in the 50-meter men's air pistol event, the Korean sharpshooter scores 583 points, setting a new world record and winning a gold in the event. For Jin, not only does he break a 34-year-old record, he also wins his first individual gold at a world championship. And now moving over to the 2014 Arirang Championship, the final LPGA major of the season. For two Korean LPGA golfers, Park Se-ri and Park In-bi, it's their chance to earn a career Grand Slam with the win. Now with the event taking place from September 11th to the 14th at the Arirang Resort Golf Club in France, Hall of Famer Park Se-ri and world number 2 Park In-bi look to storm through the 4-day event, hoping to win the season's final major and also claim a career Grand Slam. If any one of the two achieve that feat, they will become the 7th golfer to do so. And now over to some Wednesday night's KBO action. The Nexen Heroes continue their winning ways, beating the Hanwha Eagles 4-2 with the LG Twins crushing the Kia Tigers 12-6, as well as the Lotte Giants who cruised past the SK Wyverns 11-5. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the Samsung Lions take on the NC Dinos. And of course, going into the game here, we go over to the fourth inning of the game. Veteran Iho Jun RBI single to left gives the NC Dinos the 1-0 lead before Ji Seo-kun makes it 2-0 with a single to right, scoring Iho Jun from third. But the sixth inning, the Lion King Lee Seung-yup deep to right field, number 30 on the season, as he becomes the oldest to hit 30 in a single season. But now we fast forward to the ninth inning, a wild pitch with the bases loaded ties the game at 2 apiece. And a few pitches later, Park Chan-do, that's a 2-run single to left center, his first career hit. And a big one at that as he helps the Samsung Lions rally back to win this game 4-2. And that's going to wrap it up for me. This has been SJ. Have a great rest of the day and see you guys again for your sports needs.
The city of New York is considered the Big Apple in the U.S. Now, this city we're going to take you to today is considered the Big Apple of Korea, I'd like to say. It's Chungju. It's known for its apples.
Good apples, that is. And our Joey Mercadante actually took a trip down there, and he has a lot to tell us about his trip. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, I do. Well, where should I start? Let me just say that there are tons of delicious apples in my fridge right now.
Okay. So how are the apples? What do you think?
Fantastic.
Yeah?
Absolutely fantastic. Really. You'll see it.
It's got that crunch, right?
Crunchy, juicy, fresh. But enough about apples. I'm also very sore because I tried out some martial arts styles as well.
Oh, wow.
That being said, this is still one of the most memorable travel reports that I've done in a long time. You guys interested in checking it out? Okay, let's have a look at my adventures in Chungju. Chungju in Chungcheongbuk-do province. It's about a 2-hour drive from Seoul, and it's a city that's located towards the middle of the peninsula. It's rich in history and culture, not to mention quite scenic, with Nam Hangang River running through it and the grand Chungju-ho Lake at its side. Once you've been there, you'll understand why Chungju is adored as a travel destination, just like I did. My first stop was Tangum-ho Lake on the Nam Hangang River. This is where the 2013 World Rowing Championships took place, introducing Chungju as a mecca for rowers internationally.
Everybody has to work together for one common goal. They work really hard to the end. They never give up. That's really commendable. Now that it's all over, some of the winners get a prize, and it's even more sweet.
There's a leisure and sports academy at the lake run by the Sea Explorers of Korea. And they let you try water sports out for free, like kayaking.
Ooh, what's that?
Okay, here I go.
Well, not this. The one with the pedal.
At first, it may be a little hard to navigate, but you'll get addicted
This is a
soon.
fun opportunity to kayak and paddle with my daughter, and we're enjoying this refreshing time together.
Now here you go. This is what you're talking about.
Right.
Something a little easier. It's a floating bike. And you don't really need to work as much. After my break at Tangum-ho Lake, I was ready to get my hands dirty.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. 뭐 하세요?
안녕하세요. 사과 따고 있습니다.
Apple picking. Wow.
Chungju apples are pretty famous, and they were ready to be picked. Every year, the city holds an apple festival. That's how good Chungju apples are. The soil here is rich, and the climate's perfect for apples.
Don't pull hard or force it too much. Turn the apple counterclockwise and pull up like this.
Counterclockwise.
Now with
there was a
these,
specific direction.
yeah, so with these tips, apple picking was pretty easy, just as long as I remembered to be careful. And the scent of these fresh apples were too hard to resist.
Which is nice, actually, not overly sweet, just the right amount. Crunchy, fresh, juicy, everything you want in an apple.
Delicious, and it tasted even better because I got to eat it fresh.
Oh, for me?
Oh, wow.
Wow, 감사합니다.
A whole bag.
My hard
That
work
comes
has
with
paid
the
off. Look at that.
experience, huh?
Right.
Some apples to take home.
It's a good $20, $30 worth of apples right there.
Yeah. Apples are not cheap here. So my next stop is the World Liquor Culture Museum. Liquor from all corners of the world introduced with information of its traditions and cultures.
Now that smells like the whiskey I know. I like the smell better than the whiskey.
And of course, a little hands-on experience was on the itinerary. At the Liquor Museum, I got to make an alcoholic beverage using Chungju's apples.
Wow,
I did my
interesting.
cool, oh-so-natural cocktail shaking, and our drinks were ready.
Martini.
Nice.
How unique of an experience is that? Who gets to make cocktails fresh with apples from the farm? And it just smells and tastes exactly like I'm describing it, fresh. From the museum, my trip continued along Namhangang River for about 15 minutes until I reached Chungju's World Martial Arts Park, home to the country's only global martial arts festival that's also backed by UNESCO. They have Korea's traditional taekyeon, as well as many others you may recognize, such as the Philippines martial arts, arnis.
Looks like a lot of fun. Can you explain to me what's going on here?
They're playing arnis. The sports aspect, we use padded sticks, but with the real martial art, we use blades.
Oh.
Yeah, swords.
Well, you know, I had to try it out. Arnis is a type of Filipino martial arts that was founded as a self-defense system. They use canes, swords, and bare-handed techniques. And it's taught to the country's special forces as well as the police force.
I realized it's also a lot about endurance. Initially, it was very easy, and then after, I'm like, oh, I'm getting tired. Can you teach me some moves?
The carefully executed moves of Korea's combat and self-defense martial art, Taekwondo. I learned a few moves of that and a few moves of Thailand's traditional Muay Thai.
It's so fun that this is a festival of the world's martial arts. I have to get on stage, but I'm nervous because the other countries' martial arts look very intense.
Wrapping up the festival were competitive drills and routines from each martial arts discipline around the world. It was really dynamic and made you want to learn some martial arts yourself.
Can't leave out Taekwondo.
Definitely a fan favorite.
Come and enjoy the tastes, the sights, and the action in Chungju while you still have time. You gotta see it with your own eyes.
I got to meet some of the masters of martial arts cinema, got on the water for leisure sports, and tasted the pride of Chungju apples. It was one of those trips that was short but leaves you with a lot of fun memories. Find out for yourself with a trip to Chungju City this fall.
I guess you left your apples.
I did leave my apples at home. They're still crisp in the fridge.
Empty-handed. We don't
really
like
good.
this.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So Joey, you got to experience all these different types of martial arts from around the world. Which one caught your attention the most, or what was the most interesting one?
I liked the Filipino style, the arnis.
Arnis.
Now, despite what you saw in the report, I was actually quite good. So I got to edit it out. I'm going to have to speak with the editing team because really, I mean, I faced a like a student learning the style, and I took it like it scores to first to 5, and we went 5 to 4, which was pretty good.
You're stuttering now. I don't know why.
Because I can't prove it. Because anyways,
your video editor likes you very much.
Anyways, so yeah, I think having long arms served me well. It's sort of like fencing, but a lot more fun, and it was a hit. Like, tons of people were lined up to give it a try, and not only spectators, but fighters from other styles were joining in because they wanted to try it as well. It just has this mass appeal.
What about Taekyeon? Because Taekyeon is known for its very unique moves too, right? It's different from the Taekwondo, the rigid moves.
It's kind of like a dance.
It is like a dance.
Yes.
It's actually
And,
Is that the sound you're supposed to make?
and
we had some
very
lessons a couple
disciplined
years
as
ago.
well.
Right.
There's such a discipline to it. Watching the Korean team perform it, they're just so good at what they do and high flying, and it was fantastic. It was definitely a fan favorite.
It's designated as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO. Just wanted to get that in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of the pride and joy next to Taekwondo. A lot of people know about Taekwondo from around the world, but Taekyon is another pride and joy of Korean martial arts. Now, speaking of those apples, I'm sure people want to go in there, go to Chungju at the time where there are festivals or when the apples are ripe. Can you give us some dates for these festivals?
Sure. There are festivals going on in the month of October, apple-related festivals. But this year, in November, there's a festival/event going on that is in the form of a marathon, an apple marathon. Now, this will be going on around the World Martial Arts Park area and the Tangum-ho Lake area. So that should be a lot of fun.
And of course, we can't leave out the rowing part.
Oh,
I heard that a
the rowing.
competition is being held there.
For the Incheon Asian
For the Incheon Asian Games,
right.
yeah. Which means that this month it's going to be quite hectic and quite busy. So you may not want to head down there this month. For what I'm about to tell you next, which is
I'm like, whoa.
Go check it out for the games. But what I mean is that next month you can go and get some free rowing lessons.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm not talking about kayaking, but the actual dragon boat free rowing lessons.
Doesn't it involve a lot of muscles and
It sure does.
strength?
It sure does.
That's
but
why
it's,
they're doing it next month when it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah, but honestly, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back. I think it's something that it's an experience worth having for sure.
You know, I definitely think Chungju is one of those underrated places where people don't normally think of as a vacation spot. But as underrated it is, you will be overwhelmed with the many activities that await you there.
That's right. It's the hometown of UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon,
There you
if
go.
I may add, right? It gave birth to one great leader. So go check out the place and feel the spirit, I suppose.
And taste the apples.
Right?
Taste the apples,
for sure.
Like I said, I mean, really, it just left an impression on me, and I really enjoyed being there.
Well, thanks for bringing some for us too.
Where are those apples? We were expecting at least one in the studio.
Maybe we can meet up tomorrow and one each.
Right.
We've had our
Thank you
share.
so
We want
much.
you to enjoy yours. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. See
You're
you
very
next week.
welcome. My pleasure. See you next week.
All right, well, this is where we say goodbye for this Thursday morning already.
Well, this is like our Monday, and Monday for many people out there, and tomorrow's Friday, so there you go. A short week. Maybe that's the way it should be.
We like it this way, right?
I wish, right? All right, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.